This conference will now be recorded.
Welcome back to our basic navigation group of training videos for Duct Quote. Today we're going to be talking about the Design tab. And we'll go ahead and open back up to our project, and we will open up the layout that we had created. And there's our grid. Now, over on the top left, we've already discussed the Settings tab. Now we'll discuss what's in the Design tab. Now, what is the Design tab for? Well, this is where you can set defaults, which can be applied to the entire drawing or to selected sections. And we'll get to selected sections here in just a little bit. But for the entire drawing is typically when you're going to start out. So let's go ahead and take a look. Under the layout options, we have application, and that would allow us under standard, that's most layouts, it's going to use that setting. There's no additional surcharge added for that. If we choose the fiber, paper, or tag free, this is going to be where it is buffed tag free, free of any spurs or catch points where fibers or shreds might catch up and cause clogs in the duct. There is a 5% surcharge for that. And then we also have mist, and that includes both oil and water, any kind of heavy moisture situation. And this is typically for the rolled lip product or flanged product, and it calls for a special caulk to be used to seal the joints. And again, there is a 5% surcharge for that. Then we come down here into the common options, and under material, we've got galvanized or stainless steel, and that is 304. Now, just a note, we can also manufacture in 316 stainless, but you'll need to call and talk to your duct guy about that to get a quote. Then we've got our flex hose, food grade, that's basically clear flex hose or black. Those can be chosen. And then we get to default fitting radius, and this has to do with your elbows. So standard for us is the 1.5 times D, or diameter, but the short radius for us would be a 1 times D, or a long radius would be 2.5. Now again, there are custom radiuses available. You'll just have to talk to your duct guy there. And then we have hangers. Now the default here is none, but you'll add them later. But you can have saddle hangers, hat hangers, cable hangers. All are assigned using the SMACNA rules, which is essentially about one for every horizontal section and then an additional hanger for every 10 feet of that section. Then we come down to the US Duct Options. Now, let me explain. US Duct Options takes from the US Duct material selection here. So we can select the standard or heavy gauge, and that is the only two selections there. Connection type, it can be rolled lip up to 24 inches, and then it would flip over to flange. Or we can select flanged for all parameters. Okay. Then we also have the rolled lip gasket and O-ring type. Now, in some situations, you might need high temperature silicone, Cortex, or Viton. All of those are available. Buna N is our standard. And then we come to flange type. If you've got flanged duct, what material do you want that flange to be made of? Galvanized, stainless, or black iron, carbon steel. And then gaskets. Now, we've only got one gasket material available in Duct Quote. However, like other things, if you call your duct guy, they can probably get you a quote on all kinds of other gasket materials. Then we come down to your standard elbow type. Now, there's a break point at 8 inches. Anything that is 8 inches or above is going to end up being gored. However, anything below 8 inches, you have your choice of a stitch welded or a tubed option. Tubed is going to be more expensive, but there is no seam and therefore no leaks. And then finally, if instead we choose to use US tubing as our product line, these will then take into effect. And again, we can choose light or heavy gauge, tubing light, tubing heavy. And of course, we have, again, gasket materials that you can select there. So that's a walk through the Design tab. And I mentioned that we could, in fact, use either for the entire drawing, it sets defaults, or if we actually have something there with multiple sections, we can, in fact, select a given section. And now we can actually change options for that specific selected section. That comes in very handy for things like between the no return valves and the collector, you might need a heavy gauge flanged option, even if everything else is rolled lip. But that's a walk through our Design tab, and you're almost ready to start drawing your own duct system. So watch the next segment. We're going to begin your drawing with a starting point and the draw controls.